Hello everyone, I am CorporateNapps and welcome back to my channel. I obviously look a little bit different today. I came to you guys in my orange perm rods, and if you looked at a previous video that was entitled 5-Day Curl Evolution or something of the sort, these are the perm rods that I use to achieve those curls. I spoke a little bit about that in that video, but I wanted to come to you while I had the perm rods in my hair so that you could see how I take them down, as well as I want to talk through some of the things that I do prior to putting the perm rods in, as well as when they are actually in my hair. Before we get into that, if you have not already done so, be sure to subscribe, and when you do, hit that little bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. For those of you who want to see a closer look at my locks, be sure to join me on my CorporateNapps Instagram page. You can look above in the banner or below in the description box to find out how to follow me on Instagram. So let's go. I'm gonna try to talk here while I am taking down my perm rods. I will not be looking at the camera while I'm doing this, which is over here. I am going to be looking at myself just so that I can ensure that you guys can see me taking them down. So one thing to keep in mind when I moisturize my locks or when I wash my hair, I actually do all of my moisturizing at that time. Remember, I am someone who washes their hair once a week. I do not live in a very cold weather climate, so I typically will not moisturize in between my washes. I do all of that the day of my wash. One of the things when I am setting a style with my moisturizer, I try to use a heavier oil like a jojoba, coconut, extra virgin olive oil, and I use somewhat of the essential oils like lemon, rosemary, tea tree, whatever I have in the cabinet at the time, peppermint, and I use that inside of the heavier oil. And of course, that's heavily diluted with water. I use a little spritz bottle, and it probably is, 3/4 of the way filled with water and just a little bit of that heavier oil and some drops of essential oil. So you'll see here that when I take my locks out, I am simply removing them. I'm not doing anything to the curl. I never disturb the curl. Even after I take my hair down, it's completely down, I don't separate my curls. I actually put rods in while my hair is wet. I mean, it is wet. So I do my regular wash routine, and then after that, I put my towel on to make sure that all of the water from washing is as absorbed as I can. I leave it on for about 10, 20 minutes, maybe even 30, depending on what I'm doing around the house. And then I re-wet my hair with that oil concoction or moisturizing concoction that I mentioned. I don't measure, so I can't tell you what the measurement looks like or what have you, but I just kind of do it to sight. I just kind of have an idea of what works for me. And so I moisturize very well, and then I go in and put the perm rods in while my hair is literally soaking wet. I know some people do it on dry hair and then they wet their hair while their hair is in the rollers. I don't do that. I just go ahead and moisturize very well, make sure I get my scalp and all of that, because I like to rub all of that into my scalp, and then I put my rollers in. And you'll see as I'm taking my hair down, you can't really tell right now, but I have a part here in the middle. However I want my hair to fall, I make sure that I roll my hair in that direction. It ensures that even though I have a good bit of weight to my hair, it ensures that my hair falls just how I want it to fall without my having to move it or shift it in any way. I can, of course, change the parting if I want to after the fact, but this is just my preference, having it in the middle. Something that I did different this time is I used a little bit of setting lotion. I will tell you, I don't use anything fancy. I actually use the old-fashioned Lotta Body. If you guys remember that, that's what I had in my cabinet, and I just dilute it very heavily. And the only reason that I did set it this time with setting lotion is because I'm going to be going out of town and I want my curls to be last a little bit longer than what it would be if I were around town. Again, they will fall regardless, but they won't fall as quickly as if I were not to put anything in my hair for hold. I probably can count in the over 5.5 years of having locks, I probably can count on one hand how many times I've used setting lotion. The other thing to keep in mind is when you put your hair in rods, your hair needs to be 100% dry before you take the rods down. If it is even barely damp, if it's a small amount of dampness, your curls are going to flop. You're gonna feel it immediately, and all that time that you spent putting in the curls and drying in whatever method you opt to dry will be for naught. So that brings me to the other item in terms of drying. If you want more details, be sure to look at my curl evolution video. That'll give you probably a more structured way of what I do to my hair. But in terms of drying, I normally sit under the dryer for about 2 hours or so, and that's not all at one time because I would go absolutely crazy. I'll get on the dryer for about an hour, do some stuff around the house or go to sleep, and then the next morning come back and do another hour, and that will usually have my hair dry. But keep in mind, my hair is not dried completely just by doing 2 hours under the dryer. It will not be dry. I have to have my perm rods in for a good bit of time without the dryer for it to be 100% dry. I am not gonna sit under the dryer for 3, 4, 5 hours. It's just not happening. I have an at-home dryer. It's a really good dryer, but I don't know why, for me, my locks take forever to dry, and I'm so afraid of seeing, what happens if I sit in there for 3 hours and then try to take it down. I'm afraid to see that whether if I take it down or take one down, whether or not the very ends would be still wet. So I've never tried it. I don't want to try it because I don't want to be under the dryer that long. So I'm good with my method of just drying majority of the time with air dry, if you will, in the atmosphere or what have you, and those equivalent of 2 hours off and on under the dryer. As I get towards the front, you'll see where the curls are placed in based on how I want the hair to fall. See that? And this is for this side. So as you can see, I have a huge number of rods in here. The rods, I can't tell you how many I have. What I will say is that I used to be very specific about making sure that I only had, all of them are out now, that I only had 4 rods. Oh, that feels so good. Oh, I slept in the perm rod. So, not the easiest thing to sleep in. Much better than the, what is it called? The flexi rods. Definitely better than the flexi rods, but goodness, not a whole lot better. But perm rods can be difficult to sleep on, so just a caution there. Oh, that feels so good. I used to be very meticulous about ensuring that I only had 4 locks per perm rod. Now on each perm rod. I was very meticulous about that for quite some time. I've gotten away from that. Now I may put 5, 6 on there, 5 or 6 on there, and that's really about all that they can hold. And keep in mind, I have bigger locks compared to most people with locks, or a lot of people with locks. I have relatively larger locks in comparison. And so those of you with really tiny locks, you can certainly get away with putting more locks on the rod and having a perfectly coiffed do of curls. And I'm not doing anything here other than putting my nails up against my scalp, because again, it's not even that it's itching, it's It's the fact that, oh, that pressure from the perm rods was on my scalp. So that's it. I will try to insert pictures, and I hope you guys enjoyed the takedown. Again, look at the previous video that's entitled 5-Day Curl Evolution. It's something of the sort, and that will again give you a bit more detail. You will also see in that video how I sleep with my hair at night by doing a pineapple, and I actually demonstrate in that video how to do a pineapple if you are not familiar. I hope that everyone is doing well. I hope you guys are staying safe, and take care.